Hello everybody, and welcome to a Pauper video here on the channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome. Today we are going to be playing Affinity, which is a deck that I really enjoy playing in Pauper. It's the first deck that I have, that I played in Pauper. I started exploring it, I've played many matches with it, and I've tried all sorts of different versions. And this is my own, slightly unique version, and yeah, we're just going to do a quick deck tech and then get into the matches in a Pauper League. But yeah, just a quick reminder before I begin, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to click that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to get updates for whenever I post new content. But now that that's over with, let's get to the deck tech. Okay, so what is Pauper Affinity? Pauper Affinity is an aggressive deck based around the mechanic Affinity. And what Affinity is it's shorthand for Affinity for Artifacts, which it says that the spell costs one less to cast for each artifact you control. So your deck is the deck is built around cards like Mirror Enforcer, which can be a free 4/4. Somber Hoverguard, which can be a 1 mana 3/2, basically your own version of Delver of Secrets. Frogmite, which is usually a free 2/2. And Thoughtcast, which is a blue for draw 2 cards, which is obviously pretty powerful. There are some other cards that don't technically have Affinity, but they have very similar keyword, Metalcraft. So Carapace Forger is a 2/2, but when you have 3 or more artifacts, it becomes a 4/4 for 2 mana, which is pretty powerful. And then Auric Sunchaser, don't know why the art isn't showing up, is a 1/1 for 2 mana, but if you have Metalcraft, it's a 3/3 flyer, so pretty big payoffs for having a ton of artifacts. But and also Galvanic Blast is another card that has Metalcraft. It's 1 mana, deal 2 damage to a creature or player, so it's shock on the one hand, but if you have Metalcraft, it does 4 damage to target creature or player, so it's pretty powerful if you have Metalcraft. So all of your cards get vastly better if you have a lot of artifacts in play, and that is facilitated by having artifact lands. So we have Ancient Den, Great Furnace, Tree of Tales, and Seed of the Signon. So we have 16 artifact lands in our deck, which means that a lot of the time our lands are essentially 2 mana sources, because if we were to play an Ancient Den, it makes Frogmite cost 1 less, and we can also tap it for mana, so it's essentially 2 mana for a lot of our cards. Now, we also have other cheap artifacts, and a lot of them are built around facilitating our mana. So we have 4 Springleaf Drums, which makes us able to tap an untapped creature we control to add 1 mana of any color to our mana pool, which is really important because the artifact lands are not dual lands, and we do have a lot of colors to facilitate all of these super powerful plays. So having Springleaf Drum makes us able to cast all of our colors of mana. When's my next big paper event? I'm not sure yet, Max Mitchell. Springleaf Drum facilitates a bunch of your plays because it lets you play all of your spells, even though they are a bunch of different colors. We have blue spells, we have green spells, white spells, and red spells in the main deck and in the sideboard. So it's pretty important to be able to cast all of our spells. So Springleaf Drum is a 4-color land for all of our colors for that, pretty much, because we will often have a cheap creature. Chromatic Star is another piece of fixing. It's only a 1-use only fixing, but we can tap and sacrifice it to add 1 mana of any color to our mana pool, and then when put into a graveyard from the battlefield, we draw a card. So it helps us cycle through our deck, it helps us fix our mana, so it's pretty powerful as well. Then a couple copies of Prophetic Prison. It's like a similar to Springleaf Drum situation. It replaces itself when it enters the battlefield, it powers up our affinity count, and it lets us tap for any color of mana. Then the last couple inclusions in the deck are Flayer Husk. Flayer Husk is pretty good in this deck. 1 mana, it has Living Weapon, so it's like basically a 1/1 for 1, but it's an artifact and it's an equipment later on in the game. And the reason this card is good is because 1 mana artifacts are key in this deck. You really want to be able to power out your affinity creatures early and have smooth draws, and this card helps you do that, because being able to cast a bunch of cheap artifacts is good, especially because it lets you start casting your other guys earlier. Also, the equip ability is pretty relevant because it lets you make your guys like slightly bigger in the late game. So like if they have a Gurmag Angler and you have a couple Flayer Husks, you can put both of them on the Mirror Enforcer to make it the biggest guy in the game. An equipment that is not often played, but that I have in the deck, is Bone Splitter. It's just another cheap artifact. I sideboard this card out quite frequently, as you will see in the matches, but I really do like this card because it makes all of your little random guys pretty powerful. So Frogmite is often a card that gets blanked later in the game, and Bone Splitter just makes it a pretty big threat. It's also good with all the flyers in this list, and I'm going to cover the differences between this and a stock list in a moment, but it's really good with all the flyers because that lets you race pretty quickly. And then, yeah, those are all the cards in the main deck. Going on to the sideboard, we have a bunch of 1-ofs, and I like to separate things out when I can, so into like a split of 2 different cards that might be good, because so I have like 1 Electrickery, 1 Clark Clan Shaman. They're good in similar matchups, but there are some matchups where you'll want Electrickery but won't want Clark Clan Shaman, namely matchups with a bunch of small flying creatures against you, because then Clark Clan Shaman can't hit them because it only does damage to non-flying creatures. The main interaction of Clark Clan Shaman is that when you can hold priority while you're using it, so you can Wrath for more than just 1 damage. So that's one of the major interactions. It's also kind of cool if you can equip it with a Flare Husk, because then it's a repeatable version of deal 1. We have a couple Pyroblasts for blue decks. We sideboard this in mostly against not all decks that run blue, but against a lot of them. 2 Hydroblasts for red decks, Dispel for counter magic and certain decks that run like Doomblades and instant speed interaction. A couple Metallic Rebukes just for control matchups, or it's really certain matchups rather than like overall archetypes that you bring these things in. Relic of Progenitus for graveyard decks. I do like bringing this in a lot of the time because it's another artifact, so it is pretty smooth to play in the deck. It's very synergistic. We have Serene Heart, which is our Boggles, anti-Boggles card. If we draw that, it's pretty nice. A couple Ancient Grudges for the mirror match. And then we have Natural State, which is good against Boggles, and it can be decent in the mirror if you want to get onto the Destroy Lands plan, which is often a decent strategy in the mirror match. So before I jump into the matches, I'm going to cover a couple of the variations that my deck runs that a lot of decks do not run. And that's mainly in these slots. So Auric Sunchaser, Somber Hoverguard, and I'm just going to move these over here, and Bone Splitter are pretty unconventional cards. They're not used a ton. Instead, the deck runs sometimes Gear Seeker Serpent, sometimes, most of the time, it runs 4 copies of Atog. Let me pull up Atog for people that are not familiar with Pauper. Atog is a card that says sacrifice an artifact. Atog gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So basically what you do is you play your Atog and then you can sacrifice your lands. I'm just getting that Exploder. You can sacrifice your lands to Atog, and it just becomes a very hard to deal with threat in the late game because it can just grow out of control pretty quickly. And then alongside Atog, people run Fling so that you can kill them out of nowhere. So you just pump up your Atog a bunch of times and then fling it. So you can just sacrifice all of your artifacts and then use Atog to fling it at their face. You can also use Temur Battle Rage to do a similar thing. You attack them, sack all your stuff, Temur Battle Rage, kill them. And then sometimes they run Gear Seeker Serpent, which is sometimes a 2-mana 5/6 if you can get double blue. Yeah, so those are just some cards that they run instead of these slots a lot of the time. And the reason that I'm not running those cards is because, first, for starters, I'll cover the Atog one, because that's the glaring difference here, because most decks run just say these 6 slots would just all be Atogs. And the reason I do not run Atog is because the deck, in my experience, at least the way I like to play it, or from the way I found, is at heart it's just an aggressive deck. And the Atog is a horrible card when you're trying to curve out on them, because you play it on turn 2, and you just hit them for 1, and you can't really hit them for anything more until like the very late game. And when you get to the late game, you're usually in bad shape anyway, and they have their whatever late game engine they have set up is already set up, or they can kill your Atog. Atog's kind of fragile; it dies to like Doomblades, Journey to Nowheres, for example, and it just doesn't necessarily hold up as well. It's also kind of risky sometimes, and it's just not a great turn 2 play in my experience with the deck. And so I would rather have a proactive early play that I can use to kill them quickly. And that's why I like Bone Splitter, because it helps the deck stay a bit more aggressive. It's also really good with the Flyers. Also, I think Flyers are really good in Affinity, because Affinity usually controls the ground pretty well. But against certain decks, they can just chump your guys all day, or they have their own Flyer that's attacking you while they're chumping on the ground. And having 8 Flyers is just a great way to have good defense and offense in the air. And so I just really like these pieces. Gear Seeker Serpent's also really hard on the mana, because getting double of any color is pretty difficult. So you usually have to run more Prisms and maybe even a Terrarian or 2. So I just really like these 10 slots, and I hope you'll get to see the power level that they bring when we get to the matches. So yeah, without any further ado, let's jump into a friendly Pauper League, play some Affinity, and yeah, hopefully we get some good matches in and get to show off the power of the deck. One thing to note is when you're sideboarding with this deck, you do not want to sideboard too many cards, because all of the cards are very reliant on each other, and especially like cheap artifacts. So I think like my most commonly sideboarded out card is Bone Splitter, because in post-board matchups, you don't always aren't always as able to run them over as quickly. So, and also your sideboard cards are usually better. And when they're starting to like pressure your guys, you don't always need Bone Splitters as much. I also side out Galvanic Blast when they don't have creatures I want to remove. Like if in a control matchup where it's just 4 to the face, I'd rather have A lot of the time I'd rather have like a counter spell or something. But yeah, I guess we will get to see how the deck performs. And it can do some pretty busted things, so I really enjoy playing it. Okie doke, so this hand, pretty good. We have multiple Carapace Forgers and enough artifacts. We have Frogmite, so we're going to keep this hand. I do run Chromatic Star. I don't run Chromatic Sphere, but Chromatic Star. So they play a Wind-Scarred Crag, which makes me think they're probably playing maybe Boros Metalcraft. We're going to lead with our Tree of Tails. They don't run main deck artifact removal. Auric Sunchaser, I wish it had the art for it. It's kind of cool art. It's, yeah, pretty nice. Prophetic Prism. So they aren't getting off to the fastest of starts. So hopefully we can, hopefully we don't get punished for just running out of Carapace Forger. But we do have a backup one if they do have a Lightning Bolt. It's unfortunate to expose it to a Lightning Bolt like this. But they also have Galvanic Blasts. Okay, so they did have the Lightning Bolt. But we have a backup Carapace Forger. Glint Hawk, okie doke. Bouncing their Prophetic Prison for value or their land if they need to make a land drop. Looks like it's going to be their Prophetic Prism, and now back to our turn. Okie doke, so we have another Sun Chaser, so we're going to play land, Forger, we're just going to get our bigger body out fast earlier, play our Flayer Husk, and then play our Frogmite for free. And then pass. We do not have access to red mana right now, but we are going to have a couple 3/3 flyers soon. It is a bit unfortunate that we lost our guy to Lightning Bolt, but such is life. Playing his Prophetic Prism again, presumably. No, Alchemist's Vial. Target creature can't attack or block. That's a pretty interesting one. Another Glint Hawk, okay. Our 3/3 flyers match up pretty well against those. Gonna be pretty happy if we can trade them off. This deck is pretty cool because it can bounce back a lot of artifacts that come with value. Okay. And he's attacking. Okay, that's a good sign for me. No attack. A land. Okay, that's a pretty good draw. So now the question is, do I want to go Prophetic Prism, Galvanic Blast, with the potential to go Prophetic Prism, Auric Sunchaser, or do I just want to play Sunchaser? I think I'm fine to trade for these two cards, so I think I'm just going to attack and then play a Sunchaser. And then next turn I can hold up the Galvanic Blast. Okay, so this is good for me. I like this trade because the flyers can block my flyers, and I don't like that. He's playing a Vial. And he might not be, he already has used 2 Lightning Bolts, so he might not be as prepared. He used 2 Lightning Bolts? When did he use his second Lightning Bolt? Oh, he bolted my Frogmite, that's right. So yeah, now I'm going to be able to start getting in the air with my flyers, my flying force. And yeah. Hit him for 4. I really wish the art would show up. And in decks that run Atog, they run Darksteel Citadel, just to be a little bit more immune to artifact hate in the sideboard. But I'd rather play Auric Sunchasers and white mana. Black. What's he playing black for? And now I have access to red mana for the Galvanic Blast. Alchemist's Vial. Okay. Okay, I think we're going to play Prophetic Prison before combat, just so we don't have to sack our Galvanic Blast if we want to be able, to be able to cast Galvanic Blast if we want to do that mid-combat for some reason. Another Sunchaser, interesting. And we are going to look for a white source. I think the second Lightning Bolt. Oh, he's jumping maybe. Okay, I don't know. He might have. It depends on his hand, because if he has a bunch of glint hawks, then that can't block it. I think we're going to sack this for white, and worst case, we'll replay this. But if we draw land, we can play another Sun Chaser. Perfect. So I don't think he has any board sweepers in his deck. And a lot of board sweepers in Pauper don't even hit flyers, like the Guerrilla Shaman. There might be a couple others, but I'm not sure. But I just for the thought argument, I know this is a bit results oriented, but imagine if on turn 3 when we played this, we played an Atog instead. So Atog would have been like a threat on this board state maybe, but like if we have 3 Atogs, it's not great. That's another thing with Atog, is it's kind of bad in multiples. Here we have all of these guys, we can almost kill him. Target creature from your graveyard to your hand, okay. So yeah. Okay, that's an interesting card to have. Luckily he used all of his white mana. Okay, so he's going to have the vials to make my attacks a bit worse, but I think we're going to... Ooh, that's a good draw. Another flyer is not always appreciated. So I think that means we're going to attack, then equip the Flayer Husk to the Somber Hover Guard. So that means we're going to attack, because this thing will be out of range of just being single blocked by a Glint Sleeve. Okie doke. He did not crack Alchemist's Vial, which is interesting to me. Blue. So we're just taking to the skies. We could play our star, but there's no real reason to right here. We'll just hold up the Galvanic Blast. And now we have a bunch of flyers that are going to be pretty hard for him to deal with, because all of his flyers are 2/2s. And we can Galvanic Blast him or one of his guys during combat. So yeah, all the flyers are doing good work, because our other guys can be chumped by like Thraben Inspectors or things of that sort, but... Okie doke. Another Hawk. I think we're going to wrap this game up. Another Prism. Interesting. So yeah, with the Galvanic Blast, I think we've got this one. He'll have 3 flyers. He'll be able to block 3 of my guys. Boom, boom, boom. I like Galvanic. Okay. He had Galvanic Blast. Slightly irritating. He can only block 2 of my guys though, so I still win. Yeah, I'll just attack him. He'll block 1 here. He can take 3. I Galvanic Blast his face. And that will be game. There are some fogs, so I'm going to hit him to 1. Boom, we got there. And opponent conceded the match. Interesting. I will talk a little bit about my sideboard decisions. The key is to not sideboard too much in some matchups like this one. So like, a lot of these cards are pretty bad against him. I might have sided in... I think I would have sided in the Ancient Grudges perhaps against him, just because if you can... sometimes you can kill the artifact in response to the Hawk, and then the Hawk dies too. So maybe Natural State would have been good, but overall I don't think any of my cards are particularly bad against him. I might have sided in a Dispel or a Hydroblast, but maybe, or Metallic Reach, but probably not a ton. I'm not even sure if I would have sideboarded in anything, to be quite honest, because none of these cards are bad in the matchup. One of the important things to remember is you pretty much can't shave on mana fixing. So pretty much never take out Prophetic Prisons or Springleaf Drums. Rarely take out never take out Chromatic Stars. Pretty much rarely take out Flayer Husks. Like, you sometimes do, but a lot of the time you will not. Bone Splitter is the most likely card to shave, but I think it's pretty good in that matchup because it helps you kill them faster in the air and makes all of your guys pretty threatening. But I don't think I would have sideboarded much, if at all, for that matchup. I think all my cards are pretty relevant against him. So, but yeah, don't know why he rage quit there. Maybe just didn't feel like playing another game, but nice to get the W, I guess. And one cool thing, when deciding whether to equip the Flare Husk and get rid of the Germ, against black decks, that's much worse, because a lot of the time their removal is Chainer's Edict, and that card is kind of wrecked by Flare Husk because it's just a 0/0, and then you get value from equipping, so it's trading for like half of the card, and you still have the artifact for affinity count. Okie doke. Let's go, as they say. I love Magic Online. The way it resizes the window every time just never gets old. Okay, we are going to be getting to play first. Let's see. This hand's great. We have Flare Husk, Springleaf Drum, and Prophetic Prison, so we can cast Auric Sunchaser on turn 2, and it'll immediately be a 3/3. We can probably cast this on turn 2 as well, depending on, because we'll play. And when you're playing your cards, it's almost always better to sequence Flare Husk first, just so if you do play another creature, you could attack with it potentially. So you don't usually want to lead with Springleaf Drum first, unless you suspect they'll use removal on the Germ token. Okay, so Burn's not a great matchup. We can sometimes kill them fast enough, but a lot of the time they're just too quick. So we're going to go Island. So now we have 3 artifacts. This costs 3 now. Definitely, I think we're going to go Springleaf Drum, Auric Sunchaser. We could play this guy, but this guy's going to cost 1 next turn. And so we could go like Prism this guy. So we're just going to cast our Sunchaser. Burn is not a great matchup because they're just faster. Like, yeah. Okay, Curse of the Pierced Heart. Not exactly what I'm afraid of. I'll try to kill him before I take too much damage off of that, but I'm still not in great shape. Oh, that was a pretty decent draw. So we're going to Prophetic Prison. This could be a good turn. Oh, that was a good draw, I think. Seed of the Synod, Frogmite, Hover Guard, attack for 4. And then we have Galvanic Blast to kill one of his creatures, because the way the burn works in Pauper is they have Thermal Alchemist and Firebrand Archer, which both deal you damage whenever they cast an instant or sorcery. So that deals you extra points of damage. Oh my gosh. But we won't use it. Oh yeah, perfect. So just free 4/4 on turn 4. Just how we drew it up. Definitely attacking with everything. Don't know exactly what's in his hand, but stealing a game 1 off of burn would be pretty sweet. Post board, it doesn't get insanely better. Okay, so now, since we have Galvanic Blast, I'm feeling fairly confident. But he could just go bolt, 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 untap, kill you. Kill me, I mean. You never know against burn. He only had 1 bolt. Oh, no, we were just short on damage. Looks like he got there. Oh my gosh. Wow, he's going to get me with Xaxes because of this Curse of the Pierced Heart. Wow, what a close game. Not going to show him our Galvanic Blast, I guess. But if we'd had this guy instead of Frogmite, we would have won, maybe? No, we would have put him to exactly 1. It was close. Yeah, we can kill him on turn 5, but he can kill us on turn 4. Oh my gosh, that was so close. He needed to have double Fire Blast, I think, to kill us. Or to have his last card be Bolt, because otherwise he was just short. He would have been 1 point short if he didn't have 2 effects that dealt 4 each. That was insanely close. Very close. So definitely bringing in Hydroblast in this matchup. They're very good, especially against Fire Blast, and then you can also use them to kill their creatures. We're going to bring in our Dispel. Not going to bring in these guys. Metallic Rebuke's interesting, but I guess we'll see what we want to cut. This is one of the matchups where I sometimes shave on Flare Husks just because they're a bit slow. Bone Splitter, sometimes don't always have time to cast it. Might bring in Metallic Rebuke. These are the 5 cards I'm considering. Definitely bringing in those 3. But the last 2 are close. Never cut those cards. Thoughtcast is pretty much just too good to cut as well. It's just too strong. Never cut Springleaf Drum because you need it for the mana. It's basically your last 4 lands. Blast is pretty good against him just because it can kill his creatures. Maybe I don't want Bone Splitter in the matchup. It could be slow if I don't have time to equip. Though I'd kind of like the idea of racing him. Sun Chaser can be a bit slow. It's like a bit slower because it's just not as big. So, and it costs a little bit more than Hover Guard a lot of the time. So I think I'm going to go down 2 Sun Chasers, 2 Flare Husks, and only bring in 1 Metallic Rebuke. Metallic Rebuke doesn't seem as good. Yeah, I'm not going to bring in Rebuke. I'm going to keep in the Flare Husk. We'll run it like this. I would like to play first. Pretty good hand. We'll keep this. We have our 2 mana 4/4. We have one of our sideboard cards. And our 4/4 is going to be online immediately, which is important because against burn, they obviously have lightning bolts. A card you always need to be aware of from red decks is Guerrilla Shaman because it's just a brutal card against you. It's a 1 mana, it's a 1-drop that can kill all of your creatures. Okay, we're going to use our Galvanic Blast on that because Hydro Blast can be more useful later. Going to Prophetic Prison. So Guerrilla Shaman, basically, it can pay 1 to just start sniping your lands because it destroys I think a non-creature artifact for like XX1. But since your lands cost 0, it's just 1 mana. So we're going to Galvanic Blast this guy. Play our Frogmite. Attack. And just imagine if instead of having a Flare Husk, we'd had like something a bit that wasn't a 1-drop artifact. This is why I don't like to cut them. Okay, we'll probably Hydroblast that one. Rift Bolt, yeah. We'll Hydroblast this guy. He'll just do a ton of damage to us. Okay, so first we're going to go this guy. We're going to use our star first, just so we know. We're going to tap it for blue. We have the prison, so it doesn't really matter. Kill that. Combat, attack him for 7. And play our Springleaf Drum. This way, if we go, if we draw our Thoughtcast to draw 2 cards, we'll still be in fine shape. He's targeting me still. Searing Blaze, unfortunate. And another Thermo Alchemist. And so we're going to equip our Frogmite. Oh my gosh, great draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This way he can't chump it and still live. I think we're going to cast this guy before combat. Just in case he has like 2 Fire Blasts and kills both. I don't think it really matters. He's not going to change how he blocks. He's going to block the bigger guy. He only has 2 cards. I think we've done well. One card that you sometimes see in the sideboard of Affinity decks is Feed the Clan because you have so many 4-powered creatures. But I just didn't have room in my sideboard. Okay, on the draw, I think we definitely want our last Flare Husk back in, probably for a Sun Chaser, just to make sure that we're extra smooth coming out of the gates. We don't have a ton of sideboarding. We just have to hope he has a slow hand and our hand's fast. This is not a fast hand at all. We do have a Hydro Blast. We do have a Galvanic Blast. And we have 2 lands. I think we're going to have to keep this. The thing about Affinity is sometimes you get hands that just have no lands in them and just get destroyed. Chain Lightning. No, I will not pay 3. Okay. And the draw. I'm going to play Great Furnace first. Because I'd rather Galvanic Blast a creature if he plays one. There is downside. No, I will not. He only has 1 land. Okay, that's great for me. Unfortunately, I mean, if he gets stuck on 1 land, I could steal this game, but unfortunately my hand is incredibly slow right now. Oh, he has no more spells. Okay, this is how we're going to steal the game. If we keep drawing lands, it might get tougher to do that, but we're going to go... This costs 2 mana, so we're going to go... I think we're just going to go Mirror Enforcer. It's the biggest body we can cast here. And then next turn, we'll be able to play our Somber Hoverguard for 1 mana alongside a... Okay, so he does have a Bolt still. Unfortunate. Hopefully he misses on land here and has nothing to play. Okay, opponent is a legend. Never misses ever. Okay. So we're going to play land. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artifacts. So we're going to go Mirror Enforcer, Somber Hoverguard, Galvanic Blast this guy, attack for 4. I don't think opponent can kill us this turn. And if we draw a Mirror Enforcer, we can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can cast it, or Frogmite. Okay, so we didn't draw one, but I think it's still worth it to fire off the Thought Cast there. And just hope my opponent gets stuck with too many expensive cards in hand. Okay, so the fact that he's playing that is a huge sign for me. That he has expensive stuff. So I'm going to save my Hydro Blast for something expensive. Okay, so I'm going to go Prism. See if I can draw another creature. And we're going to go Star. Crack our Star. Keep still trying to draw like threats that are bigger than Flare Husk. I'm just going to play the Flare Husk though and hold up my Hydro Blast. I'm trying to trick him by using my Prism. Attack him for 11. As long as he can't kill me this turn, I'm going to be fine. So I'm pretty much just afraid of Fire Blast. Magma Jet. We're fine with that. He only has 3 cards in hand, so they all have to be burn spells. And 2 damage is not as big as a lot of his spells are. They also can't just be like the creatures. Okay, we'll let that resolve. Let that resolve. If his last card's Fire Blast, he got us. Oh man, he got us. Oh my gosh. Nothing I could have done there, but that still feels awful. Oh my gosh, he got us with the Fire Blast. What did he do with his Scries? Oh man. He put one on the top. Oh man, that was so close. Dang it. Opponent was, oh my gosh. He had to have all burn spells, and he does have like non-burn spells. He has, I think, 4 copies of the card that, yeah, that's game, but he has like 4 copies of, oh man. Jeez, what are we going to do there? He had all bolts. If he had a land, any of his, I think he runs 8 creatures that ping, and then he probably runs 4 copies of the Piercing Heart spell. So I think we were probably like pretty big favorites to win that from that position. Man, that was brutal, as they say. That was so close. Dang it. Oh man, close match. Both of those games we lost against Burn were really close. As you can see, it's a pretty big race. Just seeing who can get there faster. I think our opponent had a pretty good draw, but both of the games he beat us. We had pretty good draws all 3 games. Expellador, I don't think Burn is like OP or anything. It just has a pretty close matchup against our deck. in particular, because our deck doesn't really interact with them. We don't counter their spells. I don't think he was I don't think he was lucky per se. I just think that he drew pretty well. We both of our decks drew pretty well. He just drew slightly better. He seemed to have too many bolts. And this is a mulligan for us. We have a bunch of expensive cards, and we can't cast everything really well. So we will keep this, though, with the Scry. I'm very unwilling. I don't usually keep one-landers without a Scry, but with a Scry, I am pretty... I keep them a fair amount. Okay, Snow-Covered Island and Llanowar Elves. So Elves is not a great matchup for the deck. Okay, and we got there on lands. We're going to go with Chromatic Star first. Yeah, that was really close. If our opponent hadn't had he needed to have exactly Fire Blast as his last card, and he did. Dang, he also couldn't have 2 mana burn. I think he had like, yeah, his sequence of draws there was insane. Dang. Jeez, so close. 3 lightning bolts. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's really bad for us. We struggle to race a Well-Wisher. We have to kill it with our Galvanic Blast. Our Galvanic Blasts get taxed a lot in this matchup. Okay. So we have 3 artifacts. We're just going to go Chromatic Star, Flayer Husk. This way we can trade with an elf. I don't think we're going to win this game, though. Dang, that burn match was so close. Yeah, we've had some pretty good games so far. The one against the first round where the guy conceded was interesting to say the least. Okay, this is going to be a problem. Going to be a problem. He does only have 3 cards left, but he's getting a ton of 1/1s. His guy's going to gain him a ton of life. And, yeah. Land. Bone Splitter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4, 4. Crack for blue. We're only going to crack one of them because we don't want to draw like a green spell and be unable to cast it. Equip. Attack for 3. He's not going to trade, so we'll get in for some damage here. And then our Somber Hoverguard's probably not going to be able to race Well-Wisher. Maybe he'll flood out. Elves does not run a ton of lands, and he seems to have a lot of them. Yeah, this is looking grim. I used to have 3 Krark Clan Shaman in my sideboard just for the Elves matchup, but it's not like any deck has like an overwhelming share of the metagame, so devoting 3 sideboard slots to one deck is pretty nutso. So we just have the Krark Clan and the Electrickery. So we have 2 slots. So we could equip the Flyer, attack both. We'll probably find a trade-off for the Huntmaster. Hold back to the Flayer Husk. He does only have 2 cards in hand, but and they're probably like I don't know what they could be, because if they were elves, he would have cast them. So the only card I can think of is Distant Melody, which is a blue card in the elves deck that pretty much draws him a card for every elf he has, because otherwise he would have just played all of his elves by now. So I don't know what he could possibly have in his hand. He's blocking. That's great for me. Oh my goodness. I'm pretty happy if he trades here. I obviously don't know what he has, so it's probably good for him too. But, yeah, that's pretty great for me. And then we are going to play our land out just in case we draw a card that draws us 2. Should have re-equipped my Bone Splitter, but it doesn't really matter. What does he have? Oh, he has Pulse of Marasa. That's why he traded. Feels bad, man. I could have also equipped, maybe, before combat. Okay, so he has one card left in hand. And that is not what I like to see. Yeah, that's pretty awful for me, not going to lie. Gaining a casual 12 life. Thank you so much, Expellador, for the follow. I really appreciate it. The way I said that was kind of odd. I really appreciate it, though, man. Thanks for the follow. I really... Yeah. Oh, yes. The Thoughtcast. I like Thoughtcast. Looking for Galvanic Blast. Let's go. And more flyers, which is always nice. We're definitely killing the Well-Wisher. See what we draw, I guess. Yeah, Well-Wisher's a problem. Now we can actually kill him in the air, which is nice. He does have the Essence Warden, but he has no cards in hand, and he's not gaining 8 life a turn, so... Whereas we're hitting him for 8. Viridian Longbow. That could be a problem. It is a bit expensive to equip. Yeah. So he can kill our guy by pinging, equipping to something else. Pinging, so that's not great. But we'll just load up everything onto our Auric Sunchaser. So that was a pretty good draw for him, to be quite honest. Any elf was a horrible draw. Though, we're not really complaining, but it's kind of unfortunate. Another good draw there. He's going to have 6 mana next turn, so we can go ping, equip, ping, equip. So I think we're going to go... We're just going to be careful and keep our guy alive. So we're going to go... Do I think drafting Rivals of Ixalan is hard? No. For me, Rivals of Ixalan is not hard at all anymore. I've played a ton of drafts of Rivals of Ixalan. I'm on like my... I've done like probably like 50 drafts. Exodia opponent, I like his sense of humor. So I'm taking a bit of a hit here, but I wanted to make... I'm going to try and raise him. He's hitting me for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll be able to play this and put a Flare Husk on it next turn. So that'll be at 4 toughness, which puts it out of range. Of trying the local stores champion, you should go for it, Expellador. Drafting is really fun. And if you want to watch some draft videos, you can find them on my YouTube channel. I have 26 draft videos. Yeah, that's right, 26 draft videos of Rivals of Ixalan up on my YouTube channel. Wow, he got another Well-Wisher. This guy is not whiffing. They do run a lot of Llanowar Elves and Elvish Mystics, but Viridian Longbows and Well-Wishers. Just what I like to see. Spirit of Competition. I don't even have a ton of great draws because a lot of my good draws aren't off color. Well, that's a start. Let's go. Oops, I can't cast that right now. Star. Red. Kill this guy. So he can go ping, equip for 3, ping, equip for 3. I'm going to do this and then play my Somber Hover Guard as a distraction. Opponent's really getting into it. Heart of the cards, Yugi. I'm beginning to like my opponent less. He's getting kind of annoying. We're going to bait our opponent out. No, we're not going to equip this. Bone Splitter, it's not really relevant. He's just going to double ping. It's more to make him tap his mana, because now he has to tap these 2 elves and 2 of his other guys, so he can't attack us for as much. In theory. And if he attacks us, we're just going to trade with the Alana Huntmaster. I guess he can just tap this guy, then tap 3. Yeah. I think it's this, yeah. We're still, like, making him not attack us for 2. And we weren't going to be able to protect this guy anyway. Oh my god! Opponent! What is with the Well-Wishers? I think Elves only runs 3 Well-Wishers. Not going to lie. And they're all in the top 14 cards. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're dead. We can't block all those guys. He's gone wider than us. We need him to, like, draw something bad one of those turns. He's gained, like, 10 life next turn. So we're going to bring in our Electrickery, our Clan Shaman. And I think we're going to try Metallic Rebukes maybe in this matchup. Counter some key elves. Bone Splitter's not the best. We kind of win through board control. He can just go bigger than our Bone Splitter. What else do we not need? I don't love Flare Husk. This is one of the matchups where Flare Husk is bad. Because it is, like, fine still. But it just doesn't, like, do really what we need. Because this is the deck that has endless chump blockers. I sometimes side out Carapace Forger, but sometimes I like making him have to chump. But yeah, that was, dang. I feel like our opponents have drawn well today. I'm not really sure, though. Could be me just thinking about them rather than my own stuff. I think I've played pretty well, but I feel like our opponents have drawn pretty well, too. It's nice that we got to play against several different decks. I will say this is one matchup where the Atog Fling combo is more relevant, because sometimes you just can't attack on the ground ever, and the Atog Fling combo wins you the game out of nowhere. But then again, as you saw that game, sometimes the flyers that can attack are worth a lot of damage as well. So you take it in, you leave it. Also, I didn't mention it for the burn matchup, but I think Atog combo in the burn matchup is very hit or miss, because if you get the exact combo pieces you need, you can get there sometimes, but it's, like, hard to get enough artifacts into play before they kill you. So I like having the better beat down creatures, like Somber Hover Guards, to get in. And burn was a very close match. Our opponent killed us with, like, exact damage. Oh man, still salty. I'm not actually salty, but that last game was very close. Could have totally got him. We could have gotten him. So yeah, we did take out some cheap artifacts, but we have some now, a bit better cards. We have more interaction. These are the 6 cards we want to draw, our red cards. It's annoying because a lot of the elves trigger off of any elf, and Carapace Forger is an elf. Yeah. Such is life, as they say. We have a lot of affinity cards. These are all of our Metalcraft cards. And yeah, then we have the lands. Yeah, this deck is very cool. I love the synergy. Opponent taking a long time with their sideboard. We will play first. And we have no lands, so we're going to have to ship this one. It also doesn't have any of our great sideboard cards. And our best sideboard card, Clan Shaman. We even have the combo of Clan plus Flare Husk, so pretty excited to have this. We're going to put that on the top, just so we can get access to all of our colors. It helps smooth our draw a little bit. It's also pretty fine to cast. Opponent making a pun off of my Magic the Gathering online username, MTG Legend. He says legends never mull. That's actually kind of funny. I also like having the Prism because we can sack it to Corrupt Clan Shaman. Burglore Rangers is to play. So when we get to turn 3, we're going to go Corrupt Clan Shaman, equip, sack our Prophetic Prison. Attack for 1. Because I think we're just going to crush him if we can just kill all of his X1s forever. That was a nice draw. Or not really a nice draw, but it's fodder for our Shaman. He keeps sending me messages. I mean, he's pretty chatty, I guess. I don't know. Don't know whether I like that or not. Yeah, keep sending messages. There's the classic conflict between wanting to read the message and not wanting the Magic Online window to resize. Dang it. Magic Online. What is this guy saying? Hey, by the way, there's a neat, what's its name? He's trying to give me advice on my deck. This guy's really passionate about the Pauper format. Thanks. I don't even know what he's talking about, but I mean, people like this are a good part of the thing to have in the community. He's clearly enthusiastic, wants me to have a better deck. Just what we like to see. What is he doing? He has nothing? Oh, the counter spell. That's so good. That's so good. That's so good. What the? Wing Rattle Scarecrow is the name of the card. Okay, so he's a Pauper aficionado. He's kind of played like... He's played a lot of Pauper, clearly. Let's focus, though. Okay, so I think we're going to play our... We don't want to play this until we're going to use it, so I think we're going to save it for this and plus equipping. So first we're going to attack. Play our Somber Hover Guard for 1 mana. We can use this. We're going to play our Springleaf Drum. And then we'll pass the turn. I wonder why he uses snow-covered forests. It's probably not for any reason other than he likes the artwork or something, or because he thinks they're cool. But I wonder if he has like some card that cares about snow. Wow, that card's good against Corrupt Clan Shaman. Got to say it. Do I care enough to Metallic Rebuke it is the question. I don't think so. I think I'll just sack the extra artifact and just abandon my Shaman plan. Start getting in the air, I guess. He does have reach now. Mildly annoying. But they don't have flying, so I'll still be able to sweep him away with my Corrupt Clan Shaman, and I can counter the stuff that really matters. Thing is this card's not a creature, and the Elves deck really relies on having like creature density, and he's just not doing anything that helps with that. He didn't have a turn 2 play. I'm probably just going to counter his Lissalana guy, because I don't want to have to sacrifice 4 artifacts to my Shaman. He has 5 cards in hand. I do not know what he is up to, but he didn't have Lead the Stampede. He does not seem to have a ton of gas, so I think I'm going to counter this. Gonna counter this. He looks like he has like nothing going on, and this will keep him kind of in the Stone Age. That card is pretty good in elves. You can find a lot of good elves. Another one, that's great. So we can almost kill him. What's the button for hold priority? Hold the control button. I always double check. I was 99% sure it was hold the control button, but you don't want that 1% of the time for you to just hold the wrong button and get screwed. Abundant growth. Interesting. Oh, I'll highlight over it. Abundant growth. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. The land has tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. It's because you didn't spell abundant, right? Because, like, typo. But yeah, this is the card. Weird Elves deck. This Elves deck is not normal. Timberwatch Elf. That is sometimes a problematic card. Gonna play our Prism. See what we get. Yeah. Elves on the battlefield, so the Carapace Forger contributes to that count. Okay, we're gonna tap this for green. Gonna play this guy, then we're going to hold control. 1, 2, 3. Attack for 7. And yeah, that was a pretty good turn. We have 3 lethal threats. He doesn't look like he has any cheap creatures. And I think we'll be able to take this one. Even it up. Kark Clan Shaman's a beast against elves. If you draw Kark Clan Shaman against elves, you probably are going to win. That's how good it is. I wish I had room for more than one. I consider it over the Electrickery. If Electrolyzed were Pauper legal. Electrickery is a card it's good against other things. Like against Delver matchups, you can sometimes bring in Electrickery if they have like a bunch of Fairy Miscreants and Spellstutter sprites. It's also pretty good. It's sometimes good against Mono Green Stompy, depending on if they have like a bunch of Vault Scourges and stuff. Sometimes there's situations where Electrickery is going to be better. So having a split is sometimes useful. Is pretty useful sometimes. What does he have now? I feel like he's dead. That's just my inclination, though, my first thought. Another Timberwatch Elf. Yeah, he's not going to make it out. He's not going to make it out alive. All my guys are lethal, buddy. Going to attack him. Awkward draw for him, I guess. Okay, any changes? Nope, doesn't look like it. Not going to bring in enchantment hate. Flare Husk was kind of nice that game, but I still don't think it's insane. We don't really want to draw a ton of them. Yeah, let's just keep it, run it back. I like Metallic Rebuke. I think countering the lead the pack was pretty crucial. The lead the Stampede, I mean. Sorry, I had to check something on the recording. played some pretty cool matches, I think. All of our matches have been close. I guess the first round we kind of were smashing him, but all of our matches I think have been fairly close. And we've gotten to see all the cards. I think we've drawn every card at least once. So we've gotten to see what everything does, and pretty cool. Got to see how good Guerrilla Shaman is against elves. Stacking up those triggers with priority. All that fun stuff. One of the things that elves decks run a lot of the time is, I forget the exact name of it, but it's like 1 and a green, and they can copy it if they tap 2 creatures and destroys an artifact. So that can sometimes get your lands, which is kind of annoying, but I mean, not much we can do about that. Hoping to draw these 2 cards. Electrickery is pretty good against them. Though he does have that enchantment. We're still not going to side out Electrickery because we can still use it before then. After then, it's pretty useless if he has the Spider Silk. I think that's what it's called. Opponent takes a long time to sideboard, though. I will say that. I feel like he would just keep it the same as he did last game. But maybe it doesn't work the same way. This hand is a mulligan. We don't have anything good in the matchup. We have 5 lands, and we don't have anything good to do with lands. Okay, we're going to mulligan this too. And we have our Shaman. Going to keep this one. So we weren't mulliganing until we found a Shaman, but it just so happened that Shaman was... We're going to put this on the bottom. It's basically a land in this situation. But yeah. We're just going to hope the Thoughtcast hint draws out of it. So Shaman could just be good enough to win us this match. We weren't mulliganing until we found Shaman. We just happened to have a rather weak hand. Kept Exodia. Interesting. I don't really remember what he was talking about when he said Exodia, but going to play our Ancient Den first, just so he can't blow up our red source. It stops us from playing our Guerrilla Shaman. This guy is chatty. I will say that much. Priest of Titania. That's a pretty good card. Taps for a lot of mana in the Elves deck. Prison. This lets us cast our blue spell, which is pretty important. We have a lot of blue spells in the deck. Sun Chaser's nice. One important interaction to realize is if you have a Metalcraft card, do not sacrifice to below 3 artifacts. His build is wild. He's got a weird build. He's a rogue deck builder. I think next turn we're getting a Thoughtcast and Sun Chaser, rather than just cast the Enforcer, because Enforcer is going to be cheaper the next turn. We're going to obviously cast Thoughtcast first, using our red mana, because our red mana is only Galvanic Blasts and removal spells, so we could technically draw a Carapace Forge, or we'd rather cast, though I don't think we would. Doesn't really matter. So he didn't have a 1-drop. Oh my gosh, what's he been saying? Imagine you're on 16 lands. I imagine you're on 16 lands. Plus drums. Okay, Well-Wisher we don't care as much about, because it dies of the Guerrilla Shaman. Spider Silk Armor is kind of annoying, but it doesn't really do a ton. He only has 3 cards in hand. Okay, play land, so this also costs only 1. Blue for Thoughtcast. Nice. Then we'll cast... I guess we'll cast Carapace Forger. It does let this tap for an extra 1. Now that these have reach, this guy's less appealing. Also, our Electrickery is much less appealing. This also gains him an extra life now. And this Flayer Husk plus Guerrilla Shaman combo would have been so good if he didn't have the Spider Silk Armor. I guess Spider Silk Armor is a kind of smart sideboard tech, because he knows I'm bringing in Electrickeries and Shamans, but it's kind of annoying that the Flare Husk combo doesn't get to live, because this is actually a pretty legitimate combo if you can assemble it. That's one of the reasons siding out Flare Husks is kind of annoying, but I only have one Shaman, so it's like, because if I equip it, it's +1+1, so then if I ping everything, the Shaman itself does not die. So I could like kill these guys for free, essentially. But now that doesn't work, so. Yeah, he only has 3 cards in hand, and I have 5 cards, so I'm feeling pretty good on the card front. And next turn I'm going to be playing my Mirror Enforcer and my Sun Chaser, so I'm going to be doing some serious damage. And my Flare Husk. So I'll be able to deploy all 4 of these cards next turn. And I would probably be happy to trade this for like 2 elves. It's a very interesting matchup, because this isn't the traditional elves deck. Elves decks, I mean, at least his deck might be traditional, but it might not be playing out. Okay, so he's only drawing 2. Each permanent you control of that type. So he's using that as a draw 2, which is not insanely effective. Will I play this week's Pauper Challenge? Probably not. I don't tend to play super long Pauper events. I'm not like a Pauper veteran or something like that, but so I guess we'll see what he's got here, and we could consider Clan Shamaning next turn. Another Well-Wisher, probably not going to Clan Shaman. Okay, so unless you had like a Timberwatch Elf, I probably wasn't going to, but now I'll probably just use next turn to set up. Oh, he's deploying his whole hand. So now I will probably, if he's deploying his whole hand, I will probably use my Clan Shaman. That was a good distant melody, I guess. This is pretty lucky of me to draw my Clan Shaman both times. Okay, so this is the artifact removal card I was talking about. So you can destroy 2 artifacts. He's destroying those 2, okay? That makes this smaller. Feels bad, man. There goes my Mirror Enforcer Dreams. Oh man, the classic Electrickery. Okay, this guy's back up to a 4/4. Gonna send in for 4. And now, so if I go Flare Husk plus Shaman, he's gonna only have 2 cards in hand. I can sack Husk, sack the land, then I lose my Carapace Forger. I would probably sack Prism. Wow, Electrickery is so bad now. If he didn't have Spider Silk Armor, I would literally cast the Electrickery and kill all of his stuff. Feels bad, man. So, my other option, but I have to draw land for that to work out. Yeah, I think I'm just going to kill his board. Before he can gain 10 life. Actually, 15 life. And I kill off my own guy. It's unfortunate that he had the Gleeful Sabotage, but I feel like I'm in a decent spot. Not a great spot, because Electrickery is basically not a card anymore. But I could definitely still win. He only has 2 cards too. I basically have 2 cards because I'm not counting Electrickery anymore because it's actually nothing. Land. Oh, that was such a good draw. Sun Chaser into land, because now next turn I could maybe play my Mirror Enforcer. I don't even care about holding up red for Electrickery. I probably should have, but it doesn't really matter. Pulse of Marassa, no! He's drawing a lot of lands, I will say. Ooh, that was a good draw. I can actually cast that for 3. It could enable, my Electrickery could still enable like a trade or something. It's not a completely dead card. Like if he plays another creature, then I attack with both. He double blocks this, I ping them. He is drawing a lot of lands. Elves does not generally run this many lands. Or Pulse of Marauder for that matter, but he's gaining 1 life. Land. Nice. Somehow still in this. Dang, this is insane. Like, he is bricking so hard. I feel like I'm jinxing myself and he's going to stop bricking, but... please keep bricking. No! No! He's playing Distant Melody to draw 1 card. That's actually awesome for me. His Distant Melodies have combined to draw 3 cards. Now imagine, this Distant Melody is a great card in the deck. Just imagine it on the board where he had like 5 creatures. It's just a 4-mana draw 5. So he doesn't have any more elves. Oh, and now I have a counterspell, though he does have infinite mana, but we will forget about that for the moment. I wish I could target a player. I guess it doesn't matter, he'll gain an extra life anyway. If he casts something expensive, I can counter it. But only if he casts something else for it. So now if he, I guess he doesn't have like a... Oh my gosh, if he plays another elf, and I use Electrickery to ping them all, and then... Oh, man. No! Destroying this, and... Oh, this is counter unless they pay 3. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Oh, man. No. My white source. He's afraid of more Auric Sun guys. Dang it. My counterspell is bad. Haha! Justice. Justice, opponent. I'm playing that just to show you that I could cast white spells if I ever wanted to. If I ever had that desire, the white spells would be mine. Dang. He played around my metallic rebuke perfectly. My excellent sideboarding choices are getting me punished. If either of these were Flay or Husk, I would just be in so much better shape. He's holding back. I guess we'll add white. No, we'll tap and add blue. Okay. Cast with Overload, why not? This way we kill both of them. They'll gain 2 life in response. Go up to 7, down to 4, have no creatures in play. I basically have no cards in hand, but I have no idea what's in his hand either. Come on, deck. Galvanic Blast is now lethal. Confirmed. No! My guy is now a tree folk. Oh man, come on, deck. Do be nice things. Haha! Justice! Justice! The top deck. Oh man. Now I know how that burn player felt. Oh, that was so good. That was so good. Dang. Whew. Well, anyway, if you're watching this on YouTube, that is going to do it for the YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing some Pauper. If you did, please be sure to click that thumbs up and subscribe to get updates for whenever I post new content. Also, be sure to sound off in the comments. Let me know, did you like Pauper? Would you like to see more Pauper? I could try out other decks. Or do you have any questions about the gameplay or the way I built my deck or anything else? I will be happy to respond to them in the comment section down below. If you'd like to catch me streaming live, I stream on twitch.tv/NicolaiBolas. You can find a link to that in the description down below. And if you'd like to connect with me on social media, you can find me on Twitter. Tweet me at NicolaiBolas. I post there whenever I have a 3-0 deck list, whenever I go live streaming, and whenever I have a new YouTube video. So be sure to find me there if you would like to talk or ask me about stuff. So, yeah. But anyway, that's going to do it for this YouTube video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.